this land, the prayers of this land, and the ancestors of this land. One of the things that I do in my work is create sacred space. And I have learned that from many teachers, many mystics, many shamans, many gurus, I've sat at many altars, and I want to bring forward all of the wisdom that I have learned and share it with you. Part of my own healing journey ongoing is to be here now broadcasting this live. So I want you to take a moment, if you're here with me, thank you for being here. And always my work is about finding an intention in yourself. So if you can take a moment to think of something in your life where you're feeling blocked, where you're feeling stagnant, where you're feeling stuck, and you can hold that intention, whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, whatever aspect or all of the above. If there's an area of your life where you're feeling stuck, and hold this as an opportunity, this time together, to diffuse that, to transform that, to alchemize that. And a little bit later, if I still have time, I'd like to take some questions and answers, and I'd like to focus some facets of healing on those of you who would like, if we have the time for that. So stay tuned, and I'd like you to receive it as an experience. So me talking, you get this conceptually, but if you actually receive an experience, then you can understand what I'm talking about. You can feel the energy, the transmission, the healing coming through, and you can experience it for yourself. So go ahead and take a moment. Just give yourself some thought to where you would like to focus that energy, where you would feeling stuck in your life, what you would like to transform. Always when I work with somebody in an individual session, or whether it's in a group, my intention is to align body, mind, and spirit. So it's that holy trinity, so that you are connected to your spirit guidance. So it's not coming from somebody else outside of you. I think we can all agree that it's a really rocky ride here on planet Earth right now. And I know that in the United States, I used to live in San Francisco, Marin County. I know that it's in lockdown right now, and I know that there's a lot of fear for a lot of people. I can actually feel it over here like a thick, heavy blanket when I tune into the United States of America. So for those of you who are living in that, there's a tremendous amount of fear in the unified field. And one of the things I'd like for you to be able to take away from me talking today is an experience of how to transmute that fear, and an experience of how to transform that in yourself so that you can be free. Really, what is on offer from my perspective is an opportunity to create your reality. So here we are on planet Earth. Everything is a total chaos, a maelstrom of fear. Everything's in upheaval. And in my own experience of my healing journey, I've come to understand that what we hold inside, how we live inside, how we are in our being, is reflected in the outer world. So your waking experience of reality, if it's in fear, if it's diseased, if it's unwell, if you're in turmoil, you can actually transform that, and then it reflects into your waking experience of reality. So always for me, this is a co-creation with spirit guidance. And later I'm going to tune into my little book that came through according to spirit guidance. This book was absolutely instructed from on high to come through. And I'll read a section out of it. It can be used like an oracle. So I'll touch on that in a little bit. But all of my work is a co-creation with spirit guidance. Vision weaving is the healing art of transformation. And I love the Albert Einstein quote, "We can't solve our problems with the same thinking that we use to create them." So hold this as an expansion of your perception, taking the parameters of your beliefs and expanding them, opening the aperture of your perception so that you can tap into the unified field, that you can be aware of the interface with spirit guidance, with the unseen realms. Because every single indigenous culture around the world, before colonization, they had their rituals, their ceremonies, their stories, their dances that held reverence for the spiritual realm and worked in harmony with planet Earth to live in harmony with planet Earth and with nature. And for me, that is the obvious way that we can come back and restore balance here on planet Earth, and the obvious way that we can return to a state of well-being. So in this next hour, expanding your perception, vision weaving, this is where it started. About 30 years ago, I went to see a Vedic astrologer, and he opened my chart and he looked at it and he seemed puzzled and he said, "What is it that you do?" And I thought, oh my goodness, I thought you were going to tell me that, because I was really lost at the time. I was so lost I didn't even know I was lost. And there's good reason for that. And he looked at it and he said, And the very next thing that came out of my mouth was vision weaving. And at the time I thought, wow, I don't even know what that means. And since that day, it's been like a Rubik's Cube. It's been like a puzzle from the universe. It dropped in out of nowhere, and it's been this thing that I've been like, what is vision weaving? What does it look like? What does it do? How does it move? How does it fit? How does it work in my life? And all these years, I've come to understand that my passion is creativity. My passion is healing. My passion is sacred ceremony and prayer and meditation. And it's all of these things coming through my channel. Vision weaving is based on the understanding that healing comes from energy preceding physical matter. So outside of the physical body where there's energy. And consciousness precedes energy. So if you tune into the consciousness, the field of consciousness, the unified field around a human body, you can determine what are the energy imprints that are embedded in that holographic field. And you can see the patterns of distortion that are holding a person stuck or stagnant or in disease. And when you shift the patterns of consciousness, when you shift those energy imprints, you are literally alchemizing and transforming and transmuting the energy, and it ripples into the physical. And I've seen it happen many, many times before. So about 30 years ago is when I first met my meditation teacher, and he turned my focus inward. And at first I didn't like what I saw inside. There was turmoil, there was chaos, there was absolute fear and dismay. And I didn't like what I saw. And it was with his guidance that I was able to sit with that and be comfortable, be uncomfortable with the turmoil. And on from there, I found many, many teachers that I was able to work with. One was a shaman from Colombia, Taita Alberto, working with plant medicine. And you know that saying, Joseph Campbell, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek? I was very afraid to enter that cave. And when I was finally able to enter that cave, I found a tremendous treasure. Because I was in such turmoil and chaos, and I was able to go there with the guidance of the shaman, with the guidance of this plant medicine, I was able to find this treasure. Because in my life, here's what happened to me. At the tender age of 5, as a young child, I was raped and strangled, nanoseconds away from death by asphyxiation. So you can imagine what that did to my sense of self. You can imagine what that level of trauma does to a being. Effectively, it obliterated me. It obliterated my sense of self. It obliterated my soul. It obliterated my spirit. And over the process of healing and picking up the pieces and finding the pieces of myself, the fragments, the shards, and pulling myself back and bringing myself home to myself, that's where I found the treasure. That's where I found the sweet spot, the zing. And that sense of awe and wonder. I couldn't believe the day that I realized I could drop a victim story, the day that I could drop the baggage, the wound, that I was free, of this story. And I came to understand that all of us come in with this story. All of us come in with an identity. We have our personality, we have our characteristics, we have our religion or our race or our cultural conditioning. We have our name, we have all kinds of things that define us. And so one of the things I'd like to ask you is, who are you without any of that? Who are you without the identification, without the costume that creates you? And underneath that identification is your essence, is your spirit. And that's what I came to know. That's how I healed myself, was coming to know myself as a spirit. And that's how I felt at home. And yes, it was many years of healing, many years of training, really. It was like being in the training ground of life, of learning how to release those fragments, how to release those tangles, how to release that trauma and be at home in myself. And the reward, which is available to you as well when you heal yourself, is this phenomenal sense of awe and wonder, this synchronicity, or as I like to say, harmonic resonance that happens in your being when you're in tune, when your body, mind, and spirit is in alignment. I'm going to confess that I had some scripts written down to follow, but I'm also going to confess that I can't stick on script, that the energy is going to go where it's going to go. And yes, I have an idea of what it is I want to say. And yes, there's certain things that I want to convey. But to be in the groove, to be in the flow, to be in that sweet spot of flow and connection to spirit guidance, the script has to go out the window. Just like the identification, just like the attachments, just like the thoughts that are negating or trying to grapple and run the show. So what you're receiving now is a spontaneous, improvised, free form, free flow of energy that's coming through to share my story. And yeah, I will refer to my notes a little bit. So this treasure that I found, it was buried very, very, very deep. And the first half a dozen ceremonies that I did were, as the power of this medicine overtook me, I came to understand that I would do a deep dive into this visceral, morphing, shifting montage of penises and vaginas and guts and blood and daggers, and it was gross. And the first time I went in there, my whole body was in reaction to this being swimming in this energy. And I came to understand that it happened again, it happened again, it happened again, it happened again. And each time that I went there, I was like, why am I in this? Why am I swimming in this energy? And it's, well, duh, look at your childhood trauma, look at your experience. This is what is woven through every fabric of your being. It's woven through your relationships. It's woven through your thought patterns. It's woven through your eyesight. It's like a filter on your lens of experience. So I'm going to suggest to you that all of the traumas, all of the violations, all of the things that have happened to you create this overlay, like a filter, in how you relate to the world. And that it's actually possible to shift that mesh overlay, to extract that's embedded in your tissues and cells, and dissolve it, absolve it, resolve it. Goodbye, so that you can be free. And the beautiful thing is, part of me sharing this story, because for years I just would like to be, hiding under a rock somewhere, But for years, I resisted the urge to speak, to share this story. And part of my story, just going to check in and see if I'm still here, because I'm hearing some.
You're here. Sorry, there. I just muted someone. You're here. We can hear you.
Where was I? Part of the journey, part of the healing journey, is sharing my story. So it's ongoing. It never stops. It's not like you attain some place. It's not like you attain enlightenment and you're done. It's like this ongoing exploration of self. Forever, you're expanding your consciousness. The nature of the evolution of consciousness is this upward spiral, and you hit a curve that exponentially sets you off to expand and understand and awaken. And it's not a concept. It's an absolute full body experience where there can be no doubt. So there's a lot of books and there's a lot of self-help and there's a lot of teachers and there's a lot of things pointing you to this place of awakening and this place of enlightenment. And really, you can question, oh, am I awakened? Have I got this? But it's an all-body experience. It's an all-body knowing in your bones, in your tissues and cells that you have healed yourself, a facet of yourself. And it's not going to stop while you're alive. It's an ongoing process. I'm still learning. I learn from everybody that I meet. And I've come to this understanding that every single person that I meet in my life is my teacher. It's not just this person at this altar. It's not just this person in this hot seat. It's like the person I encounter in the supermarket. It's definitely my mother and father, because everybody's parents come in with a lot of lessons for us to learn. It's your family. You can think that you're very elevated, lofty being, and then you hang out with your family. And you remember, yes, there's a lot of patterns there. There's a lot of cords there. There's a lot of tangles. We create those. Well, those have been woven around us. So back to the story of being in the montage and the maelstrom and the sickness and the goo that I found myself in. Once I went there again, and I was like, this is boring now. Why do I keep coming back to this place? And it's in that moment that I had the realization that I didn't need to keep going here, that I could literally drop that story like a sack of rocks and be free. And it was a choice. It was a choice in myself that I didn't have to carry it around on my shoulder as an interface with the rest of the world, with everything in my life. And the day that I had that recognition, the ceremony was filled with hummingbird medicine. And I'll share a picture with you, if I will, if I can, of a painting that I created called Hummingbird Medicine. And basically, this spirit of a hummingbird was with me all night. And with that vibration, with that sound, was magical sparkles all around me, healing me, cleansing me. And I was in such wonder and such ecstasy that there could be a counterforce, that there could be a way that was available to me in divine nature that would balance and neutralize the intensity of that violation, that such a thing existed. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely mind blown that something so exquisitely beautiful existed. And I came to understand for every force, there's a counterforce. So here we are on planet Earth in total chaos and total turmoil. And for all of that chaos and turmoil, there is a counterforce. There is a Huichol shaman saying, Huichol Indian saying, is that first we heal ourselves, then we heal Mother Earth. And I've experienced that firsthand. I've seen that once I've healed myself, once I have pulled back those pieces of myself, that's when it ripples out to everybody in your sphere of influence. It ripples out to everybody that you meet, everybody that you talk to, everybody that you have contact with, everybody that you share your expression with. They feel that resonance, whether it's even spoken or not. There's a healing energy that's coming from you that is affecting their experience, their healing journey. And in that way, it's like a tuning fork. So it's the frequency and vibration that you're holding that then ripples out to everybody in your life. So you're not only healing yourself, you're healing your family too. You're healing your friends, and you're healing your ancestors. It goes down the family line. And once you open to the realm of spirit, once you open to the unseen realms, and you are aware that there's this world upon world upon world of support, it really is like the universe has your back. It really is like meditation will drop you in and tune you into those helpers, whether it's the animal spirits or the archangels or Jesus Christ or the Buddha, whoever is your person, whoever is your entourage, whoever is your attendees. And over the lifetime of my healing journey, I've nurtured and cultivated those relationships with the unseen realm. And now I walk in harmony with my spirit guidance. And there's a surrender in that too. There's this beautiful surrender, because I came in fighting, and I was determined that I was in control and I was the one in charge and I was going to dictate how things were going. But of course, that didn't work out so well because I was so lost. And part of the journey was just surrendering to this higher picture, this higher vision, this higher self, this guidance from on high. It's pretty good stuff. So now when I walk on the beach and I hear the ocean pulsing on the shore, I hear the waves, but I also hear, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's like the whole universe is talking to me. I love you, I love you, I love you. Even the wind, everything becomes this beautiful dance, this beautiful co-creation. And yes, I have things I would like to do in my life. And yes, I have things I would like to create in my life. But there's not an expectation or an attachment or a rigid kind of holding of this. It's more of a, this is my intention. I release that prayer and that intention out to the universe. I take action on these things happening. And then I marvel at how it all flows without expectation. And that's the key, is that letting go piece, without expectation of how it's going to unfold, because then people come your way, things happen, doors open, synchronicity. You're in that magic of synchronicity, that harmonic resonance. In the ceremony where I found the treasure in the cave, I actually had a recall of the memory from that moment when I was a child. It had been stuffed in the vault in my subconscious mind so very deep. And it was operating the mechanisms of my experience of reality, whether I knew it or not. So to dig into that cave, to find the treasure, to go into that vault, which was opened to me through the care and the guidance of Aika Alberto, Kofan shaman. In that moment, I relived the experience. I actually met my attacker, eye to eye. I remembered his hands around my throat. I even could hear his thoughts. If I just squeeze a little harder, she'll be gone. Of course, that memory was so far buried. Anybody who studies trauma, any new neuroscientist, any therapist, any physician will tell you that trauma such as that gets buried very deeply. it surfaced for me to experience again and for me to look at eye to eye. I met the force. I met the force that wanted to inflict that on a child. And you can imagine the intensity of that force. Very, very negative. Might even say evil. And in meeting that and remembering that experience, in facing my demons, so to speak, I was able to let it go, to recognize that it no longer had a grip on me, to release it, transform it, transmute it, alchemize it with the help of hummingbird medicine, with the help of the shaman, with the help of the plant medicine, that I was able to transmute it into this beautiful gift. And I want to suggest to you that that is available to all of you. All of you are able to find that prize. All of us come in, we're traumatized. Whether it's through our parents, whether it's through cultural conditioning, whether it's through life experiences, we all have these traumas, we all have these violations. A lot of people don't know how to find their way out of that. But there is a way. There is a way to transform that. Vision weaving, healing energy is the art of transformation. It's the art of recognizing the energy imprints that are in your field, patterns of discord, whether it's fragmentation, whether it's tangles, whether it's mechanisms or devices that were put in place as a child or even as an adult if you've had an experience. So I've pulled arrows and daggers and swords out of people, and I've seen mechanisms that were broken. For example, one of the reasons I was so lost was that my moral compass was smashed, absolutely smashed to obliterate, to can't even think of the word, blah, blah, blah. It was smashed. And so I had to see that, it's no wonder I don't know what right from wrong. It's no wonder that I'm feeling so lost. It's no wonder that I cannot find my compass, that I can't find my true north. The mechanism, my moral compass, was smashed, and for good reason. So understanding that and recognizing that that was the energy imprint in my field, I was then able to take that and craft a new one. And so from a very early age, I took the vow, I promised to myself, and I promised to Creator that I align with the highest good. And that's been a mantra through my whole life. I align with the highest good. I'm going to take this sweet life and I'm going to do whatever is asked of me from my spirit guidance to live a life of highest good. And that's what I want for anybody, to imagine that you can draw your last breath on your deathbed. And as you draw your last breath and as you transition into spirit, that you can have the thought, wow, that was amazing. I did it. I lived my life to the full. I lived in alignment with the highest good. Because I want to suggest to you that you're a very advanced soul. And that in fact, you have had lifetime upon lifetime upon lifetime of experience. And this critical juncture on planet Earth right now, that we are able to access all of those lifetimes of experience and draw them in. When you've been the druid, when you've been the shaman, when you've been the high priestess, when you've been the king, when you've had all and everything else in between. When you've been the janitor, when you've been the peasant scrambling on the rubbish pile, all of it, through to the president, all of the life experience that you've accrued and accumulated over lifetime upon lifetime upon lifetime, that knowledge and wisdom is available to us now. That is when we go from the merry-go-round of despair, the karmic wheel of fortune, and we start to spiral up. And we've hit the curve. And more people are awakening, and more people are remembering. And it's available to us now. And as we remember that we are these wise old souls. And we remember that we can drop the victim story, and that we remember that we can be free and that we can be sovereign in our own being, and that you can reclaim your power. And it's not a power over another person. It's not a dominating force. It's not a forcing somebody into a situation or being forced into a situation. It's a paradoxical surrender. It's a paradoxical surrender to the highest good, to spirit guidance. So I'm going to pause for a moment. And this is an example of spontaneous, improvised, synchronized, harmonic resonance. Spirits, guides, and angels, please give the people that are listening a passage, some wisdom, random, spontaneous wisdom, right to your heart. Dear one, there is a feeling that you are looking for something to hold on to, that you are grasping at thin air. This is symbolic of your mind and character looking for an old default setting that has recently been changed in your world. This shift is creating a little short circuit in your energy field as you look to the old familiar routine. You're realizing again and again, oh yeah, things are different now. There's a virus happening. Just added that bit in. And it hurts each time you trip over the tripwire. Your spirit is asking you to fully feel it in your bones and through your whole paradigm, so that you don't have to experience that knee-jerk response each time you have that realization. This is part of your integration and learning to play in this dimension. Little nuggets and homework for you to practice flexing your expanded perception muscles. This is big. This is very, very big. So this is big. We're all remembering. We're all remembering how to heal ourselves. I've come to the realization that my sole purpose on planet Earth at this time is to heal. Not just myself, but in the sharing of my story, that it might help somebody else. And you might be thinking, this person's nuts, this person's crazy, this is not working for me. It doesn't matter. For one person, this might resonate. For that one person who goes, oh my goodness, that's me. I'm the same. I have the same experience. There's a resonance that happens. So, yeah, that's what's possible. You have power to heal yourself. I'm aware that because I came on a little late, I don't have a lot of time. And I wanted to take some questions and show you how this works for me. So if that's possible, are we able to take some questions and answers?
Yes, if you would like people to put them in the chat, or if people want to put their videos on and ask Sarah directly, either one works.
So how this works, if you would like me to focus on you, this is what I've been doing in my live healing sessions, is if you can give me a question or an aspect of your life that you would like help with, that you would like clarity with, that you don't mind being broadcast, please speak it now or message now or come on screen. And with spirit guidance, I will tell you the energy imprint that I see and work it, transform it, transmute it here and now, live. So by all means, anyone who's here who would like that. We have still people in the room.
Yes, there are 11 people in the room.
And if not, that's fine too, because what I thought I could do is demonstrate by example, which is sit in meditation until the time is up and transmute some energy by holding space in meditation.
Sue said that we didn't hear what you said. Melissa said, I'm confused about life purpose, about my life purpose. Can you give me guidance around that?
Sure. And Sue, I'll just address that first. Sue, basically what is I'm offering, and this is what I've been doing in my live sessions. If there's an area of your life that you're feeling stuck or stagnant or blocked that you want to mention and you don't mind me focusing on it here in this public space, mention it here and I will tune into spirit guidance and share with you what I see. For example, Melissa, confused about your life purpose. Can you give some guidance around that? Melissa, you're showing me here's the vertical line. Mind, body, spirit. When this is in alignment, when this Holy Trinity is connected and in sync, that there's a very deep sense of purpose here. And for you, you're showing me that there's a deviation. There's a deviation in that line. Something has pulled you off. And it might be more than one thing. It might be multiple things, multiple factors in your life that have pulled you off that vertical line. So right now, we're going to bring that. You can see it like this. If I draw a line, it goes beep, like a little point. So we're going to just imagine that line, bing, there's a sound effect that goes with it. Spirit guidance is very creative. And bring you into alignment. And now I see that there's a humming. So Melissa, if you can in the next 3 days, because it's always 3 days of integration when there's any facet of healing, for the next 3 days, if you can hum. And as you hum, I want you to hum from your heart in alignment with the third eye to your crown, so that you're humming that alignment and you're bringing that into your focus, and that you're connecting to your own higher self with that humming. And I suspect that as you do that over a period of 3 days, that something will click and something will come to you, whether it's in the dream time or whether it's in the waking world or whether it's in a flash of insight or a gut instinct or a passage that you read. Some message will come through that will click into place with that humming. Thank you. Shanti, hi, broke up with your boyfriend and he fell apart. How can you mend your heart? Shanti, I'm feeling the grief there, the grief and the feeling of responsibility that you are responsible for his well-being. I'm guessing that the reason you broke up was because it no longer served you, that the relationship no longer served you. So what I'm seeing is for you to grieve. And that classic image of the broken heart with the line down it through it, you want to imagine that your heart is coming back together and that the tissues and fibers of your heart are mending, that they're sealing, that they're healing together again. Just like when you have a cut, the tissues mend, they weave together, the cells weave together with the white blood cells. Your heart, you want to take those two pieces and you want to imagine them weaving together. And allow yourself to grieve for what once was. And there's also a piece of you not taking responsibility for his karma, for not taking responsibility for his growth, because you're not responsible for his growth. Only he is. Only he can evolve in himself. You have to evolve for yourself. You can't do it for him. So there's a recognition that you're letting that go as well. You're not his mom. You're not his caretaker. You're not his healer. That he's got to find that in himself. And pray for him. Pray for him that he finds that. Pray for him that he finds the light. Pray for him that he finds his own way. And in the meantime, you're healing your own heart and you're finding your own way. And Sue, hi, back to you. I know we're going to get cut off soon. Is there a direction I should be going? I have time and resources, but haven't known what direction to go. So what I'm seeing is for you too, I'm not sure where you are physically located in the world, but if you can go into a forest, I'm seeing you sit in the forest in Dr. Nature. And there's a place of stillness that you want to come from. So if you're moving in a direction already, if your mind is engaged, you are actually moving in a direction. So what you want to do is you want to consciously unravel your mind to a place of stillness so that you're making that decision from stillness. When you find that place of stillness where the mind is quiet, then you can actually see 360 degrees in all directions, versus if you're already on the track because your mind is going and you're moving. You're moving in a direction whether you know it or not. So come to that place of stillness first. In the forest is what you're showing me. If there is a forest near you, if there's not, you can imagine one in your mind's eye. The smell of the trees and the pine or whatever forest you want to be in, and bring yourself into that place of stillness. And the other thing is too for a direction is if it's a yes, no, I don't know, this is my gauge. I don't know is a no. Until you're very clear, until the yes is absolutely bright, shiny, capital yes, it's a no. When the direction comes to you that is big, bold, capital Y-E-S and sparkles, and you know in your whole being that it's right for you without a smidge of a doubt, that's when the answer is yes. I love forests too. Y'all, I'm going to just take this last 2 minutes to put in the chat some links for you to look at and for you to use as resources so that you can have some tools at your disposal and how you can find me if you'd like to stay in touch. I'm offering live healing sessions free on my Facebook page, and there's all kinds of creativity coming through. The reward that I found when I dropped the victim story was this channel of creativity that wanted to come through me. So there's no end of creativity that's coming through me, and it brings me absolute joy and delight to be the channel for all of that and healing myself and you. And my last words I'll say to you is remember that you're an advanced soul. Remember that you have the power to heal yourself. Remember that you have the power and that there is a way to transform, transmute, transfigure the patterns of discord that are in your field. Thank you, everyone. I know we're about to be cut off. Namaste.
Thank you, Sarah.
So much love.
Thank you for your time. I loved hearing the birds in the background. That was so nice.
I'm so blessed here. I'm so blessed.
Yes. Have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.